He says, you ever hear the time about the old prospector? That's how he tells you.
Yeah.
He says, man, there was no prospector, and he was prospecting for gold, and he was having a hell of a time getting any gold. It was an empty stake, I believe. And he said he'd come into town one day. He'd been in the mine for a good 8 months. He said, by God, he said, I'm only flesh and blood.
Sure.
Yeah. And I need a woman, you know. And so he goes into town. He goes up to the bartender. He says, bartender, he says, man, I've been in that mine for a hell of a long time, and I'm only flesh and blood. I need a woman. Well, the bartender says, hell, there ain't no women in this town. If you want to do any of that business, all we got is Andy Richter, the Swedish German. The prospector, he says, no, he says, hell, I ain't into that funny stuff, you know. He says, I'll be fine. So he goes back to his state, you know, and he's back in that mine, man, and 6 months passes, and a year passes, and Conan, you know, people are weak. Man is made of flesh and pride, as the scriptures tell us, and by God, that old prospector finally broke to his knees, and he said, I'm no worse than he went back to the bar.
Yeah.
He was a beaten man. He says to the bartender, he says, hell, man, I've been in that place 2.5 years. A man has needs, and if you say there's no women in this here town, he says, well, I'll have to go for Andy Richter, the Swedish German. But he says, listen now, he says, man, I'm a tough old hombre, you know, and I got friends now. He says, I don't want anybody to know about this. You know, this is back in the old days.
Sure, yeah.
He says,
I can tell by the accent, yeah.
He says, I got my cowpoke friends and so forth. I'd hate to hell anybody know about this. You know, this got to be all secret. Nobody. I say, nobody can know about this. Bartender says, well, 4 people will know about it. How do you figure that? He says, well, he says, I'll know about it. He says, you'll know about it. Andy Richter, the Swedish German, will know about it. And the fella that has to hold down Andy will know about it.
Why?
Why? Because Andy Richter, the Swedish German, he don't go for that funny business neither.
Well, at least you left me my dignity.
Yeah.
I like the way that story ended.
Yeah,
that was a nice...
You weren't gay.
Right. Well, but that's not